Alright, now it's chapter 12 of the Gathering of Soldiers Part 1, and it's called A Simple Detour. So after selling kids, this is what it relates to. Anyways, it was Sunday morning, and the soldiers got themselves ready to take worship at Hagia Sophia. This was the reason why we docked at Meorian Harbor yesterday. We need to thank the Lord Most High for our successful raid and escape from the enemy territory. Suddenly, Lord Pericles pointed at Hagia Sophia and he had a look of determination as he gazed at his soldiers. And we're going to do it where heaven meets this world! Lord Pericles made a short but great announcement before marching for the church. The soldiers spoke out their agreements and clapped in appreciation before following Lord Pericles. The way to Hagia Sophia didn't take so long compared to how long the worship took. When everything was done, it was lunchtime, and the soldiers dragged themselves back out into the streets. Oh man, I can never get used to the worship service. It's like standing in the flames. Such a long time of standing, every single time. Thomas complained as he walked out of the church. Officer Kai tapped on Thomas' shoulder. You know, Captain Thomas, you should have gotten used to standing by now. I'm fine with it. That's because you're skinny. I have all these muscles to stand with. Thomas patted his arms. Kai, he's right. I don't feel so well after the worship services. I may not have as much muscles as Thomas, but I still have more than you. Ephraim said. Hey, Ephraim, but don't you think that you get to focus more on the sermons because you're standing the whole time? Seth said. To be honest, you're right. I think I will fall asleep if I get to sit down, just how I fell asleep that one time when Lord Pericles was making a boring speech. Ephraim said. Thomas chuckled. I saw you there, nodding your head and all that. Yes, Seth, I agree with you. I would surely fall asleep too. While they were having a small talk regarding worship standards, Pasios was talking to Edwin and Andale. I always wondered, are you guys brothers? Pasios said. Ha! No, we just look alike and get along very well. Edwin laughed and looked at Andale. Pasios looked at Edwin. What do you think about the raid that we were involved in previously? Are all the raids like this one? Dude, as for me, this one was one of the best ones. Edwin raised his clenched hands. No, it was the best one because there were more participants and more blood spilled. Andel nodded. I agree, but because there were a great many strategies involved in this raid, push from different sides, tactical retreat, intense fight on the ship, we had much more fun than what we ever asked for. I mean, it was intense back then, but when you lived through it without your comrades gone, it was a great experience to have. They walked along in silence after that, but Edwin thought of something and decided to ask. Passius, we answered your question, but what did you think? Passius flinched and paused in his tracks for a while because the fight by the wagons came into his mind again. Oh, you don't have to share it if you don't want to. Edwin approached and patted his shoulder. It's fine, I'll say. I personally never really thought about raiding to be like this. I thought it was just grabbing whatever you can swiftly from the outer fringes of the town and leaving without killing so many people. Pushing through and totally sacking the town wasn't even at the back of my head. This was more like a conquest rather than raid. Apasio sighed. Yeah, we get you. We had casualties on our own as well. The medium melee infantry platoons really mourned over their comrades' loss. Edwin looked at other soldiers walking ahead. I felt bad. We get the least casualties while they get the most. Andel came next to Edwin. The executives are working on scheduling the funeral. That was the first thing that they started doing when they landed in the harbor. Sending the letters and all that. Lord Pericles' troops do get treated much better than even Constantinopolis troops. Passius resumed the walking and Edwin and Andel followed. I wonder, what do people think about us? I'm not sure. I don't think they know much about us. Getting involved itself takes numerous steps. You either have to be spied out, which means personally recruited, have someone who had ties with the upper lords or experts like your teacher, or something extraordinary. Edvin said, Yeah, that's why many just prefer being stationed in Constantinople. Easy money and there's not much to do, Handel said. That's how they talked before getting lunch at local shops. After lunch, Commander Kairos brought together his soldiers to have a short talk. Lord Pericles and other platoon leaders will stay here with their soldiers to recruit some men from the city infantry. It's because the melee infantry took on all of the heavy casualties and they're lacking men. For us, we could either help them out or go back to Principal to have our meeting regarding the documents that I have and other things in need of our attention. What do you want to do? Commander Kairos looked around at his soldiers. I want to stay here. I want to leave and relax. I don't know. Beats me. Who cares about what we do? Everyone seemed to be split on what they wanted to do, so Thomas decided to ask Commander Kairos. Commander Kairos, what do you suggest that we do? I'm quite sure that you're leaning towards an option. I personally just want to go back to Principal and get our meetings done before others come back. Lord Pericles told me that I can do anything I wish to do. It would be easier for him to do his tasks without a big group to account for. But the stipulation is that I would have to take back badly injured guys from other platoons if I do so, since they would want to rest too. Other thing is that we will have our duties to finish once we get there. Commander Kairos said. Thomas slowly nodded. I understand, and I'm with you on that. I want to go back too. Now, what do you guys think? Commander Kairos looked around at his soldiers. Of course, all the soldiers immediately agreed. They all wanted to leave, just that they would feel bad to leave other members behind without working with them. But since leaving will be beneficial for everyone, there was nothing hindering their thoughts. Okay then, let's leave, Commander Kairos said. The soldiers followed Commander Kairos for their ship docked in the Orient harbor. Along the way, they stopped by some shops to buy some provisions and other supplies which aren't sold in Principal. Took with them badly injured melee soldiers and managed to leave the Golden Horn at the rightful time. Well, that was a short chapter, so next time around I'll continue with chapter